Under flickering fluorescent lights, archivist shuffles through yellowed ledgers stamped top secret, tracing columns of dollar signs that vanish mid-column. Washington's helicopter blades thunder overhead as an offshore transfer to Pyongyang hits zero balance. Was this a Cold War accounting glitch or something far more sinister? Brace yourself. We're about to follow tens of millions of missing military funds down a shadowy rabbit hole of espionage and betrayal. Now let's rewind to the summer of 1950, when the Korean Peninsula ignited into full-scale war. In Washington, President Truman greenlit massive aid packages funneled through United Nations channels, the U.S. Treasury, and the Military Assistance Advisory Group. Officially, billions of dollars worth of weapons, food, and medical supplies were earmarked for frontline troops defending South Korea. But behind the scenes, a tangle of financial pathways, hedge arbitrage, simultaneous buying and selling of assets to limit risk, offshore trusts, secret bank accounts in friendly jurisdictions, and even bribery and money laundering turned every dollar into a potential ghost. Key players included Undersecretary of the Treasury John Snyder, who oversaw budget allocations, tycoon Alexander Graham, an industrial magnate rumored to broker discreet private loans, and CIA operative Thomas Sullivan, responsible for covert fund transfers. Imagine a high-stakes poker game where nobody shows their hand. That's how these institutions shuffled money through third-party banks in Switzerland, the Bahamas, and Hong Kong. It was like chasing shadows across a ledger labyrinth. Even the United Nations financial watchdogs were scratching their heads like confused tourists trying to read a map upside down. How did tens of millions disappear without a trace? Stay tuned as we unravel the first clue in our next segment. Ready for the clues? Let's dive into the tangled web of missing millions. Here's the first breadcrumb. Deep inside a locked vault in Zurich, an intrepid financial auditor discovered an entry stamped Pyongyang Liaison Fund credited with $3 million on July 12, 1950. Yet no corresponding debit appeared in any South Korean account. Picture the auditor's lamp-lit office, the hum of a single fan, and his jaw dropping as he realizes this ledger is the financial equivalent of an unsolved jigsaw puzzle. That mysterious account moved through a Swiss offshore trust, a secret bank vehicle that lets wealthy clients stash assets across borders, and then simply vanished, like trying to catch smoke with bare hands. How does $3 million just evaporate? Then came the second breadcrumb. An anonymous microfilm slipped under the door of the CIA station chief in Tokyo by a source known only as White Orchid. On those tiny reels, you can almost see the spool spinning as Soviet-coded telegrams detail a crafty form of hedge arbitrage, simultaneous buying and selling of assets to limit risk, where US aid dollars were swapped for Korean won on the black market, then funneled back to neutral banks in Hong Kong. Imagine a neon-lit back alley exchange. Rain-soaked cobblestones glistening as umbrellas shield clandestine handoffs of crisp banknotes. It felt like 007 tracking monopoly money. Next, the third breadcrumb surfaced in Seoul. A UN auditing team found entire crates of inspection reports marked classified locked behind barbed wire at a decommissioned warehouse. When they finally pried it open, half the documents were blank pages. No purchase orders, no shipping manifests, nothing. Bribery and money laundering, making dirty cash look clean, were whispered in hushed tones. But who wanted to admit they'd played fast and loose with wartime funds? Did someone literally burn the evidence? Or were those blank pages another layer of deception? You have to ask, can you trust any paperwork when the stakes are tens of millions? The fourth breadcrumb arrived via decrypted naval ciphers sent to Washington's Joint Chiefs. They revealed that an auxiliary cargo vessel bound for Busan paused in the Andaman Sea to offload sealed crates of gold-backed bonds marked military oversight onto a Bahamian-flagged freighter. That's triangulation at its finest, routing around normal inspection channels using false flags to mask the flow. Picture dark waves splashing against rusted hulls as clandestine transfers occur under cover of night. It's like sending a decoy carrier pigeon while the real message waltzes into enemy territory. Finally, the fifth breadcrumb cracked the case wide open. Handwritten ledgers in a hidden vault of a Havana bank, uncovered by a CIA informant codenamed Ghostwriter, detailed an elaborate circular flow. US dollars converted into gold certificates in Switzerland, parked in shell companies in Nassau, then wired as loans to third-party fronts in Bangkok. Think of it as a high-stakes monopoly game where the banker keeps all the cash and cackles at your bad roll. Each breadcrumb drew us deeper into a labyrinth of deception, leaving us gasping for answers and wondering who truly pulled the strings. What dark secret lies at the heart of this financial maze? Buckle up, our next module will hit the climax and unveil the truth that will blow your mind. At the heart of our investigation lies the ledger entry that shattered every assumption. On March 3, 1951, hidden inside a CIA safe deposit box in Langley, auditors uncovered a transfer marked Pentagon Operational Fund for $12,345,678. No, that's not a typo. This slush fund, a secret reservoir of untraceable cash used for off-the-books operations, was siphoned straight from the UN aid pool earmarked for South Korea. Imagine ordering a care package for frontline troops and finding half the supplies delivered to a mystery warehouse in Hong Kong. Suddenly, all our breadcrumbs, offshore trusts, phantom accounts, shadow wires, coalesced into a clear pattern of proxy financing and fiduciary breach at the highest levels. Here's the plot twist. Cross-reference those Havana vault ledgers with decrypted naval ciphers, and you find identical serial numbers on gold certificates bought in Zurich, then melted into ammunition shipments bound for covert missions behind the Iron Curtain. That's proxy financing, using legit military aid to bankroll secret ops without oversight. Hedge arbitrage? More like hedge sabotage. And those offshore trusts? They were fronts in the Bahamas where a handshake and a wink replaced any official audit trail. Picture a neon-lit back alley, rain-slicked cobblestones, umbrellas barely concealing crisp stacks of cash passing between trench-coated figures. Who knew money laundering could feel like high-stakes origami? The mastermind emerged through handwritten intercepts. Rear Admiral Chester, Chess Montgomery, a decorated war hero with a cavernous bank account. Montgomery exploited fiduciary loopholes, gaps in regulations that let bureaucrats reroute funds without detection, to build a clandestine war chest for off-the-books intelligence work. Picture him in his gleaming office, cigar smoke curling as he signs transfer orders with the same flourish you'd use on a cocktail napkin. It's like discovering your accountant has been playing Monopoly with your retirement fund and winning. He reportedly quipped, "I'm just balancing the books," with a devilish grin. Finally, this bombshell landed on President Truman's desk in a classified memo warning of unauthorized diversion of allocated aid. The White House ordered the Pentagon's Inspector General to close ranks and bury the findings, literally stapling the report into a coffin-like file stamped "Destroy after reading." Yet today, declassified account books and CIA archives let us shine a spotlight on this scandal once hidden in the shadows. Who would have guessed that behind every dollar sworn to democracy was a trail of subterfuge worthy of a spy thriller? In the dim glow of declassified ledgers and fading ink, the missing millions of the Korean War teach us that even the best-intentioned aid can be hijacked by human ambition. What starts as a noble mission to defend democracy can morph into a shadow economy where slush funds and shell companies thrive. Modern investors take note. Today's offshore trust or hedge arbitrage might look perfectly legal on paper, but without rigorous oversight, you're playing with fire. Ask yourself, if a decorated admiral could reroute tens of millions under everyone's nose, how secure is your own portfolio against hidden fees or phantom middlemen? The real lesson? Transparency isn't just a buzzword, it's your financial oxygen. Whether you're a retail investor or a fund manager, demand clear audit trails, question unexplained transfers, and never settle for vague summaries. Remember that every dollar you entrust to a bank or advisor carries the weight of fiduciary responsibility. Skip the secrecy and build your own financial Kevlar by diversifying into regulated instruments, conducting regular account reconciliations, and insisting on third-party audits, no matter how small your stake. In the end, the Korean War's secret aid scandal is more than a Cold War footnote. It's a mirror reflecting our own vulnerabilities. Could today's trillion-dollar relief packages conceal their own ghost funds? Only vigilant citizens and investors will keep these dark corridors illuminated. If this unraveling of espionage-era money laundering sparked your curiosity, hit subscribe and ring that bell. Smash the like button if you want more deep dives into financial mysteries, and share this video with a friend who loves a good scandal. Drop a comment below to tell us which Cold War secret you want exposed next. Your next great story is one click away.